All right, welcome to today's episode at systemio.dev. My name is Tom Rolley. I'm having a great day so far. It is once again a stunning day here in Byron Shire, and my wife has kindly organized already for me to have a massage experience, which was really awesome. Just for me to drop out of the world, meditate through the massage. The therapist was like, mate, your shoulders are like the tightest shoulders I've ever experienced. What is going on? Let's just hang out here. Is it okay if we do more work on your shoulders and drop some of the other stuff? I'm like, yep, great, fantastic. And I was sitting there, and whether the position of my head or for whatever reason, it was just straight through the traps. And she's just hanging out, doing some cool moves there, just releasing the musculature. It actually feels really good. But I know that I carry a lot of my stress, a lot of the strain in my life, in my shoulders. What I was really craving was acupuncture needles, like just to be able to drop the needles in and get the trapezius to release. That would have been great, but it was a massage. So I just had to continually think of releasing, working with her in terms of letting go, watching what stories came up, what was going through my mind. And the end result out of all of that, I'm like, you know what? That was pretty good. And I know that I need to go again. I've got acupuncture regularly. If you're a business owner and you're not getting some kind of body therapy, whether that's chiro or osteo or acupuncture or whatever it is, be careful. There is a serious strain that comes on from being a business owner, an entrepreneur. And if your body goes, if you sacrifice your body in order to hit your business goals, well, where does that really get you? It's much harder to come back from a depleted body, a wrecked body, than it is just to ensure that you wake up and realize that looking after your body is part of being an entrepreneur. And so for me, right now, it's weekly acupuncture with the occasional massage. I'd love to have weekly massage as well. I'm still seeking that ideal therapist. My favorite of all is Zen Shiatsu. As a massage therapist, like the recipient, oh man, Zen Shiatsu is awesome. So if you can find a Zen Shiatsu practitioner near you, then definitely hook in for that. I like acupuncture as well. The experience of the pain, it is short term. The benefits are significant. And that actually ties in pretty closely to today's topic that I want to address. So let's have a look at where I am. I have a video that is after the opt-in page for System.io. And I've known for a while that this video needs some work. It's actually already the third version, but I have tweaked up my funnel a bit, simplified it, and I know that video needs to change. Essentially, it was just a holding video to a degree. It's like, all right, what have I got? I've got this. I don't know whether it's got a call to action. I don't know even whether it's got like the next steps. I don't think it does. I know that this thing needs to change. And so last week, what was my target? My target was to make that video. Guess what? It didn't happen. This week, guess what my target is? Make the video happen. Guess what's not happened? I am now on Friday, and this thing hasn't got done. There's been a very small step. So basically I extracted out the previous keynotes that were already done and I put them in a Dropbox folder, and that's as far as I got. Like, it's a tiny little baby step, and it's very far away from actually having a new video up on my funnel. And so the question becomes, well, how do I deal with this? One way is to lie to myself and go, you know what, actually, that's not that important. What I'm going to do is do this other thing that I'm now making more important. And so there is a renegotiation with myself about what's really important. That's a very tricky place to end up, and that's a very slippery slope that suddenly everything can get renegotiated. And that new one that I made, oh, actually, that's not really it. This next thing is. And what's happening is nothing is getting done, or at least the thing that counts is not getting done. I personally would much rather stick with this failed target and go again and again and again until it gets done. And then once it's done, that now becomes an asset for my business. The asset is deployed, and I can start to look at moving to that second thing that I might have been willing to take on now, or might have tricked myself into thinking that I should do that. Instead, if I stick with the first one and go, okay, you know what? Actually, it is the one that needs to be done. Then I've got a second step, which is to get my mindset right. Most likely, in my experience, there is a mindset issue going on for me. There's some kind of deep protection, some kind of story, some kind of belief, something going on for me that's actually preventing me from doing this work. It's quite the art form to be able to go, this is where we're going, and just smash through relentlessly. That is not something that I have experienced. I will now be able to get through a lot of smaller things, but every now and then, just like redoing this video, it starts to trigger off these weird feelings in me. I barely know what's going on, and so I've got to have some way of addressing myself and going, Tom, what are you telling yourself? And usually how I've come to see this is that my ego or my brain will start to go into a protective mode. It sees a danger in this work. Now, this is somewhat ridiculous. It's highly unlikely that I'm going to get physically injured by doing a new video, but emotionally, actually, you know what? That could lead to people going, you know what, Tom, your video sucks. Your video is controversial. You're wrong. Get emails saying, mate, your stuff is shit. And I've had these. I've literally had emails. I'm sure you have. If you've been in business for any period of time, you're like, man, your stuff, you are so wrong. And this can get really heated. Like, remember that the rules of engagement for the 21st century appear to be that things get said online that would never, well, not usually be said face to face. It's like, wow, you really said that? Okay. That's cool. I have to be cool with that. But my brain or my ego may not be very happy at all. And I have to get clear. And this could be done with psychology. This could be done with a healer. This could be done with many different things. The way that I have found most effective is to go to a tool called the Stack. This is by Wake Up Warrior, and it's essentially a chat app. To a degree, it's like ask the same questions, but I am forced to answer those questions, and eventually I hit the belief, I hit the story that's going on for me. I'm like, oh, there it is. One of the ones that I had a major project that had significant implications if I did not complete this. I got 6 days in a row not being able to do it. I'm like, clearly this needs to be done. If I don't do this, this wrecks my life at levels that are almost incomprehensible. No one's coming. The lawyers don't care. The people who I was involved with don't care. But I could see that something was blocking me. And what I got to through this tool called the Stack, and it's not the only thing. You could use a Google form, you could use a piece of paper, you could use a Google Doc, write out the questions, fill in the answers. It's not the tool, it's the capacity to recognize that I've got a problem and go after myself and readdress my mindset. And in that experience where 6 days of this significant threat to my life and I'm unable to move and I get to this story, I will be humiliated for telling the truth. I will be humiliated for telling the truth. And this story had me hostage, had me captured, had me unable to take even the first step. Now, I'm fairly experienced in what would be called, like, I suppose, like spiritual work. And this thing just felt like it's jammed in my chest. And I emotionally grab it, or in my imagination, grab this rusty spike and pull this sucker out of me. Oh, you know, and there's this gaping, festering, horrible wound in my imagination, and then it starts to heal. And guess what happens? I can then begin the work. And I get this work done, and I complete the essay, 22-page report that I had to complete, and it got done. After addressing my mindset and getting down to that belief, I will be humiliated for telling the truth, shifting that, recognizing that there was a higher calling. I don't know what my higher story was, but I create this and I pull it out and go. And then the third step from this, if you have it on point, is then to duplicate the relative system, the relevant system that you've already got. If you've already got a system for creating a video, then guess what? Your next step is to duplicate this and begin I have found a wonderful thing by having systems started that my mind is like, it gets irritated by not having the system completed. It gets annoyed. It's like, this is incomplete. Go back to it, complete. So the number one thing I can do once I've got my mindset and once I've realized that there's a problem is to then begin the system and start it and put started, put working on. I'm like, okay, great, I'm working on this. And then I can move through step after step after step. If you do not have a system, then you need to at least write down the steps that you're going to need to hit in order to end up with the final asset for your business. In this case, it's going to be a video that will then get deployed on the funnel. I actually have this system. So the first thing is to realize I got a problem. I have a problem right now. Second thing, address my mindset. I'm going to go stack this thing, get that handled. Third thing, duplicate the system and go. If this is something that is recognizable to you, if you recognize that you have been there before and perhaps you made that little deal with yourself, you're like, you know what, actually that's not the one thing that needs to get done. That's not the small domino that if that falls, everything else becomes easier. I'm going to do something else. And there it is waiting for you because it doesn't change. It's still the one thing. Even if you go and do the second most important thing, the one thing that will make the change is not done. And so you eventually have to face it. I have found tools as an entrepreneur with Wake Up Warrior that are awesome. That they have dialed this in across both the stack and a second tool called the door. The door is where I realize is the singular priority when I hit Sunday that I have to answer the question, did I take out my domino? Did I take out that one thing? If this is a conversation that you're interested in, I want to let you know that the entrance gate is fairly ferocious. Like Wake Up Warrior doesn't fuck around. Like it is an intense gateway to even get access. You will need to do some soul searching. If you're willing to do that, then I invite you to head over to playwarrior.io, playwarrior.io, and go through the initial training. It's a challenge. Challenges are super popular at the moment. It's an awesome challenge. Like it is phenomenal. It is powerful. You will hit places in yourself that you're like, oh, wow, I can see now from a higher perspective. And on the completion, or in fact, not even on the completion, during this challenge, you're going to start to see the power of these tools. Beyond that, yes, there's a whole journey. There's multiple summits that you can go through. Summit 1, Summit 2, Summit 3, Summit 4, but they are all after the completion of the challenge. So if you want great tools that are already done, like there has already been millions of dollars poured into these tools. And one thing I know about Warrior is they will rep and they will get better and better. So wherever it stands right now is like, okay, this is good. And you should have seen it at the beginning. Go back to what it was originally. You'll hear stories of the Kingdom software. It's like, oh my God, what the fuck? But where they took it then into the apps, and there's still work for sure. But the mindsets and the skill sets that come from Wake Up Warrior as an entrepreneur will take you faster to where you want to go than you believe possible. Like I'm 3.5 years into this journey right now. Where I am is literally astounding. I look back at who I was a year ago and a year before that and a year before that, and I'm like, how did I even think that anything was possible? How did I think that I could take out a target successfully? This stuff has been dialed in, and it is a critical tool set, a critical mindset, a critical set of skills that you must have, because your competitors, hey, if they find this and they're competing, they will outpace you logarithmically. So head over to playwarrior.io, jump on board the training. It's $100 to play. Go all in on that experience. Like, as in all things in life, you will get out what you put in. So know that when you put down your money, it is not the cash. It is an opportunity for you to discover a better, higher, more powerful version of yourself. Go do that now, playwarrior.io. Look forward to seeing you on tomorrow's episode as we continue our exploration of systems and processes. And I look forward to sharing that adventure with you then. See you then.